Hello, and here we are for the Comics Haul for December 2023. Just about getting into 2024. Behind me, you can see that my whole hobby area is still a mess. I have a bit of cleaning up to do, but we're going to persevere and go on straight through to see what we have for comics. So let's flip the camera down and see what we have for this month. I almost said week, but it's month. So for December, we start with Alice Never After, number 5. Thus far, this has been a really excellent series. It's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland with a more grown up Alice. It goes between reality and Wonderland, and there are some insidious things happening in reality as her sister is trying to save her from the deprivations and predations that are going on inside of reality. And thus far, I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one ends. So this is the last one in the series, number 5, Alice Never After. Moving right along to Count Crowley, Mediocre Midnight Monster Hunter, number 1. So it's 1 of 4. This is going to be a short series. It's the next installment in the Count Crowley saga, and I've really enjoyed this entire series so far. It captures the B-movie sensation very nicely, and the character of Count Crowley herself really, really is a good character. I've enjoyed her. I've enjoyed the struggles that she's gone through, and I'm really, really keen on this entire series. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will make the entire series. When they did the solicitations for these, they apparently solicited 2 issues in 1 month, and so I missed ordering one of the issues somehow. So I believe it's number 3 that I'm going to have to go out in the wilds and find. And I do like that they have this official little Count Crowley sigil now on their stuff. So like you flip to the back and you got her head, but here you got this nice little sigil thing. I like that a lot. That's pretty keen. It's the first time I've seen that. Anyways, Creepshow number 3. So they're continuing on with this Creepshow. There's actually going to be a one-shot coming out, I want to say like in March or something like that. So going to see more Creepshow as we go along. So this must be going well. And again, these horror anthologies are very appealing for me. Let's see if I can get this in focus down here. There we go. And I've really, it gets exactly what you want from Creepshow, which is it's going to have a sort of quirky horror feeling. There's going to be some sort of twisty-ish ending to it, and it manages to not be terribly mean-spirited or cruel. It seems like the horror punishments that are doled out are appropriate for the most part. So yeah. Anyways, Creepshow number 3. Here we got Dark Ride, issue number 9, with a insanely salacious cover. I don't remember ordering this cover, but it is what it is with Halloween up front with the gratuitous crotch shot. And we're just going to be going more into what's been going on and getting into the reality of what's happening in Devilland. So I want to say it feels like Dark Ride's coming towards an end, but who knows? I think there's at least one more complete story arc coming up. But our last story arc ended in a very interesting place, so our new story arc's going to just pick right up and get to where it needs to go. Door by Door, Night by Night, from Cullen Bunn and Company. This is number 7. So I've noticed that this has stopped showing up on solicitations, and I think even one of them got canceled, so I don't think the series is going to come to a complete end, but I will enjoy it for as long as it's around. I see a ad for number 8, so should be at least one more. But I really hope that they don't just pull an end to this, because honestly, I've enjoyed this series a heck of a lot. And looks like we've got ourselves a biblically accurate angel with a ton of eyes. That'd be neat. So, more to come. But I really, really hope that they don't end that series just out of nowhere. And I dig the cover. It gives me that Harrow County vibe. Frank Frazzetta's Mothman. This is number 3. It's a short series, so I believe that there's only 1 or 2 more issues left. So looks like that must be a ship that Mothman came in on, because he is a space alien in this. And again, the tone on Mothman has been good, and I'm waiting for the story to actually pick up, and I think that this is where it's gonna. So, Mothman. Looking good. Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant, number 4. So, let's see if we can get this into focus again. Thank you. So I've read the first 3 issues, and I haven't been super, super keen on them. It's not a bad story arc or anything like that, but it's honestly not as good as I was hoping it would be. After the Ms. Marvel funeral for a friend one-shot thing, I was expecting really big things for her return, and it's just been a so-so story so far. So, and because she doesn't really have a long-term series, there doesn't seem to be a long-term plan for what's going on here, aside from she's going to be in the X-Men. So it's not what I wanted it to be. It's all right, but I really wanted to have a feeling of the Kamala Khan comics from her original series run, and even any of those, even when it went to Magnificent Ms. Marvel. This has just been okay. Scary Christmas number 4 from American Anthology Productions. So I've gotten the first few of these. Most of them were from last year. They're black and white interior, and they have a EC horror with that sort of comedy and horror put together, and they also have a holiday theme. So the first few issues were fun. They are kind of hard to read sometimes. So Saz had started reading one. She just could not read the text because the text was so small. Myself, I've not had an issue with that, but in all honesty, they're a very niche comic, and while I find them fun, I do like the scary horror Christmas thing. So, and we got Krampus right up front, so that's exciting. They do have a naughty adult cover, but there's not any really naughty adult stuff inside. They just have a cover that's a NSFW one available, if that's your jam. So we got Swan Songs, number 5. So this has been a series about the end of things, and honestly, each of the stories has been, I don't want to say hit or miss, but as the series has gone on, the stories have gotten better, and I've enjoyed each one more and more and more, and I'm wondering how much I'm going to like that one. It should be good. And then next issue, The End of a Sidewalk. And it's an Ice Cream Man tie-in. Oh, haha, excellent. So those are the floppies that I got for the month. Not a ton of them. And then I also got a bunch of trades. So first up is Alfonso Casas, Monster Mind, dealing with anxiety and self-doubt. It's a artist, writer, and he's exploring his anxieties, depression, and things like that through monsters. So if you've enjoyed, say, human resources or things where they personify your inner feelings, this may be a cool cool comic for you. So I know that I was really intrigued by the idea, and I like the cartoonishness of the art, and I think that it will offset the heaviness of the content. So, Monster Mind. Next up, we have Nancy Pena, Madam Cat, Life Drawn. So it's a woman and her cat, and the cat kind of has like, I'll say it seems like a Garfield complex, perhaps, where the cat thinks that life is for them more than their owner. And so it's a cat's point of view on people's lives and that sort of thing. It looks like it's going to be a fun little read, so pick that one up. Next up, I got No Kidding. So by Vero Kazat and Madeleine Martin. And this is opting out of motherhood is so hard to do, and making babies is such a big decision. Are all women destined to be mothers? Can we even say out loud, can we choose not to have children without ever being judged? No Kidding is a real book about women making real life choices, a journey filled with finesse and big chunks of smart humor. This is the story of two women. There's Jean, who doesn't want any kids, and Lucy, the one who might want them one day. So, interesting. So I've had a few of these sort of semi-autobiographical or reality feeling, as I get this back into focus, reality feeling books, and about the same topic, because, my wife and I had decided that we're going to do child-free some time ago, and it's actually enlightening and interesting to see other people who've made the same decision and seeing how they go through it, and then also exploring it from a woman's perspective. So, anyways, Saga, Volume 11, continues us along the Saga road. So, lots of things have happened throughout this series, and I've really enjoyed seeing the characters grow and change over the years, because this has been a really long series at this point. I'm not sure how many issues are crammed into each of the trades, but there's been a ton of stuff, and it's been a really good read. So Saga is one of those stories that, if you start reading it and you kind of like it, you'll probably like the entire series. So I'm wondering how long the series will go before it comes to an end. But I'm not in a rush. I've liked it a lot. I just don't want it to crap out. So we'll see. Anyways. So the last book that I got myself for December is this collected version of Dark Ark. So this is by Cullen Bunn, yet again, and Wan Do. I wonder if Wan Do is actually the person's name. Anyways, this is sort of a dark take on Noah's Ark, where you have, like, all of the mythological creatures are on the other boat, as it were. So, and again, I didn't read too much into it. Just I saw Cullen Bunn, I saw the sort of subject matter and that sort of thing, and I thought this would be a natural fit for me in my collection. So in it came. I wanted to get it as a floppy when it first came out, but I never really got to grab it. And then I wanted it as a floppy trade, and I don't think I've ever actually seen it available as a floppy trade. So I ended up getting the hardcover. So it's a little bit of an expense, but it's about the size of a core book for a role-playing game. But I'm hoping that will be good. So now I'm going to move on to some Christmas stuff, because it is the holiday season, and I've gotten gifted some books. So first, from my friend Rose, I got Damn Them All, Volume 1. I remember talking to her about the story a little bit. Well, not the story, but she had told me a little bit about it, and I said, "Oh yeah, I saw that solicited, and I was really interested to see what it was about." So She gifted me with it, and I am thankful for that. I'm gonna read this one probably in a little bit because I have a lot of stuff to get through, but it certainly seems wicked interesting. So that is Damn Them All from Boom Studios. Got Ice Cream Man, Volume 5. So I've really been enjoying Ice Cream Man, the series. It's a semi-anthology series, I would call it, with like a main storyline running through it. And the main storyline grows very slowly across the many volumes of the trade paperback, and that's okay. So I've just really enjoyed the read here. And it's like, so hey, remember when we just saw the When a Sidewalk Ends? Has this like the giving tree. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, hey. It's like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing. I'm really, really piqued. My interest is super piqued. Super peaked. Okay. You got me, Maxwell. W. Maxwell Prince. So, also got Swamp Thing, Green Hell from Jeff Lemire and Company. So, this is one that I was going to pick up as floppies, but I put off picking up the floppies because I didn't need more floppies. And I said I'll just wait till the book comes out, and then I'll wait till the trade comes out. And then when the trade came out, I said, I'll just put that on my Christmas list. And then I did. And then my sister picked it up for me. She also picked up the Ice Cream Man as well. So, yeah, I really dig the art. I haven't read much Swamp Thing, but Swamp Thing seems like it would be my jam. I remember watching some of the TV series when I was younger, and I also watched the movie quite a bit. So, and again, like, I like Alan Moore, and Alan Moore had a lot to do with New Swamp Thing, and I'm wondering if this is going to kind of have that similar feeling. So, we'll see. So let's say the Earth is all but done. The last remnants of humanity cling to a mountaintop island lost in endless floodwater. The parliaments of the green, the red, and the rot all agree it's time to wipe the slate clean and start the cycle of life over again. And to do so, they've united their powers to summon an avatar, one of the most horrific monsters to ever stalk the surface of this forsaken planet. Against a creature like that, there can be no fighting back, unless you have a soldier who understands the enemy, someone who has used its tactics before, someone like Alec Holland. Shame he's been dead for decades. Oh, interesting. That could be pretty good. And again, it's from Jeff Lemire, who did Sweet Tooth, and I've really enjoyed Sweet Tooth, so I think that'll be pretty cool. Also, from my sister comes Monica by Daniel Close. So, frequent watchers will know that I am a Daniel Close fan, and I don't want to say fanatic, but definitely fan. And like I loved Ice Haven and Ghost World and like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron, and the list goes on and on. But Wilson, Patience, you name it. And so now we got ourselves a brand new Daniel Close story to enjoy, and not just one, but two. Also got the trade paperback floppy version of Death Ray. So, and again, I really dig his art, and having it in this giant format is really cool. Because I don't know if the original version of Death Ray came out in this sort of large format, but I tell you, I really dig how big that is. And then from Saz comes Astro City, Metro Book number 1. So frequent viewers will know that Astro City is probably my favorite comic of all time. And this is collecting the first series. So it's got Dreams in Flight and all sorts of other, all the like early first couple trade paperbacks are collected in here. And it'll be nice to have them all together in one place and to actually have them all, because I had only ever read these via borrowing books from the library. So actually having them in my library at home will be nice. So, and again, like this is a good chunk of Astro City's first run. Let's say it's what, 15 issues, 14, 15 issues, 19 issues. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of good stuff. And so it'll take me a while to read through it, and I'll enjoy the process. Yeah, so that goes through Astro City number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then volume 2, 1, 2, 3. So, cool. Bloop. And the other big old book that Saz got for me is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimate Collection volume number 1. So, I am a large Turtles fan, big fan of the Turtles, and yet I never actually read the original Turtles comics. So this actually has the number 1 and a whole bunch of the other like first few issues from Eastman and Laird, and I'm very, very keen on reading these. So I've seen the original art in San Francisco during it was a Ninja Turtles art exhibition that we had gone to see. I believe that was San Francisco. That might have been Houston. Anyways, but long and short, though, it was cool to see the actual original artwork, and it's even cooler to be able to read the original comics without, breaking the bank. And so that was a very thoughtful and keen gift. So that's what I got for the month of December. So let's go back up top, and we'll talk at you for a little bit. Well, that was a big old pile of trade paperbacks and a teeny tiny pile of floppies. So I'm totally expecting that in a couple of weeks I'm going to have a giant stack of floppies coming in, because I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that just didn't ship with this shipment that is going to be showing up. So I've got a lot of good reading to do and a lot of thought. Like some of this stuff's going to be very thought-provoking. Some of it's going to be very nostalgic. It'll be nice to revisit Astro City from the beginning and really get back into, well, I don't want to say get back into, but really grasp and hold on to some of the earlier stuff that I might have just read very quickly because of the time period when I read it. And again, like I'm exploring the Turtles from the beginning will be a cool thing. Like I've been familiar with a lot of this stuff. The first issue was reprinted as part of Free Comic Book Day, but actually seeing it in the context of the rest of the story arc from the first few issues will be kind of cool. Getting more Daniel Close was really nice because I really dig his work, and I want to get, I kind of want to get all the stuff that he's put out, at least in the big form, in the big trade paperback forms and all that. So that said, if you're just here to see comics go by, then we can say goodbye, and I can say thank you for watching, and comment, like, subscribe. If you have any comics that you want to know more about, let me know, and I can certainly talk about them some more. Otherwise, we'll see you next month. And for those that want to stay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the channel, a little about what I'm doing, and a little bit about life as it's going on. So, channel-wise, I am so far in the weeds versus my plans that I'm just going to say new year, new plan, new everything, whatever. So I'm going to actually have to sit down and make my plan of when I'm going to shoot stuff, when I'm going to upload stuff, and make sure that I stick to it. Part of that's going to be, I think I have to reschedule my way I sleep, the hours that I'm sleeping, because I had been, like when I'd be going to bed around midnight, a little later, sometimes a lot later, but always routinely getting up at 6, and then I would be up, eat breakfast, and then I'd end up taking a nap for like 2 hours. So I remove some of my, like, I displace some of my sleep time, and that's turning out to not be super helpful. So I think that I might try doing like midnight to 8 instead and just sleep later and see how that works. Uh, I'm just very hesitant to do it because I really enjoyed the early mornings. I really like getting up as the sun's coming up. And so I've been hesitant to try anything different. But I feel like with the way that my schedule's been changing, I have to allow myself to sleep a little bit later. So I'm wondering if that will help with some of the things that are going on with me uh, overall that I won't get into here, but I've talked about before a little bit. Anyways, uh, that said, things that I need to kind of buckle down with and schedule because they're things I enjoy, but they're also things that I've been avoiding doing for whatever reason. Uh, Doing my videos and writing and working on my mini painting. All three of these things I've been not making time for, and that's been very difficult for me because I am not feeling, as I whack them, I whack the microphone with my hand. I'm not feeling creatively fulfilled, and to an extent, I'm okay with that because I've been so unbelievably burnt out, tired at times from overtime and things like that I've been doing, that I just haven't had the opportunity to care that creatively I'm falling apart and feeling really ruined, and it's not a good feeling. So that said, I want to make sure I make time at least a half an hour to an hour a day just to do these creative things. And even if it's not like a fully developed battle report like I did with Gus and Giacomo a few times a couple of years ago, or like when we did the Call of Cthulhu or anything like that, I just want to actually get to play with Gus and Giacomo and escape a little bit with them. I want to be able to sit down and get through some of my painting and then build new models and all of that. Um, the painting models has been tough lately because I've not really been enjoying painting the Hero Quest models. They haven't been very exciting, I think is the way to put it. The sculpts are very lackluster overall. They're not as deep cut as the 40K minis. They're more along the lines of the WizKids minis. And I've just found them to be very boring to paint because they haven't really excited me. Uh, I'm just thinking of last year I painted, 200 something minis, and I was super excited about it. And this year I've painted a quarter of that because I was very excited. In like the first quarter of the year, I was painting 40K stuff, and I was very excited and I was very into it. And then I started priming and painting the Hero Quest stuff, and I'm like, everything. It felt like the whole rug got pulled out from me, and I just wasn't as excited about it. And I don't know if that's from when I had painted Zombicide, and that was a lot of the same kind of painting. And so now I'm just like back into the fantasy painting, and it's just not as interesting as the sci-fi painting. Because the sci-fi painting with really nice minis was giving me really cool results. And when you're getting cool results, you want more. So anyway, so I want to get back on schedule with that and get stuff in progress with it, so that I can, when the summer hits, or sorry, when the spring hits, I can get my new models primed, painted, and excited about. And I think that the other thing that got me less excited with mini painting is having walked away from the organized Grimdark Future game that I was running. So I don't know if I had told this story, but I will tell this story now because I might as well. I was running Grimdark Future at a local game store, and I had told them, this is going to be a narrative game. This is going to have a storyline. The story is going to flow based on what the results of the game are, and blah 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 blah. And everyone was on board with that, and most of the players were cool with it. And the thing is, as the story was unfolding, I had made a decision as a person that was putting together the whole narrative that there would be specific things that like the Imperial side would have to do so that they can gain an edge, or that they can actually like make headway through the campaign, because it was just basically going to be Imperial's chaos. Like that was the way it was kind of organized, and the Imperial players would frequently be trying to play to win the game that they're in. So like a lot of the Imperial players were trying to wipe the board of their enemy, or they were focused on just maintaining their objectives. They weren't focused on the objective of the story, if that makes any sense. So like in the first one of the things that they had to do is repair the communications array so that they can communicate with the other players. So that was something that they could do, and they actually, those that managed to do it could discuss with other players what they were going to bring for the next game, and those that did not manage were kind of left out. So, I felt like that was immersive, and I didn't super enforce that or anything like that, but, I just, that's the way I had meant for it to be. And then, like none of the Imperial players had completely secured their landing site. So the next game, one of the things that they had to do was just like get a dude from one side of the board to the other, and that would be their landing site claimed. And none of the players managed to do it. They, they're focused on other things inside of the game. One of the other things that they had to do is like organize which of the many objectives they were going to do, which was like get a sample of the disease that Nurgle was working on, and that was one of them, and there's a couple other things. And so for each thing that they didn't do, there was a negative outcome in the next game. So by the like fourth game, there was a lot of negative things going on the Imperial side, because they hadn't managed to do any of the things that would have given them a boon, or they've done minimal things that would have given them a boon. And my plan was that would be like the first story arc, and then we go into another story arc where things would kind of get brushed clean or whatever, or I'd start handing out points in a different way. Well, anyways, so one of the players complained horribly and made me feel like terrible, because like he just wasn't appreciative of what was going on. He was frustrated and all this and that and the other, which yeah, I get it. His army is in a frustrating and difficult place, but that's sort of how things were going, and that's what the experience was dictating. And they knew going into this that each decision that they make and how they work inside the game was going to give them was going to like inform each of the additional sessions. So it was very much like a role playing experience, and they weren't having it, and they were like yelling across the store how much it sucked playing in this and how unfair I was, and I'm punishing them for playing the game and this, that, the other. And I felt like crap, and I said, I'm done. I'm just not going to bother. I'd even told him that, next game everything's going to be wiped clean. We're just doing straight points, and nope, no, he just wanted to complain and all that. And I said, well, you know what? We're done. I'm not organizing it anymore. And so that kind of really put a kibosh on my painting because I was very excited to paint because I was very excited to bring new things to the game. And, that was like a monthly thing. And my plan originally was I wanted to play Space Wolves. So I wanted to be on the Imperial side of things. And because of the uneven number of players we had, I ended up playing Death Guard, which were at the time like the most powerful faction in GDF to begin with. So, it was a mess. It was a mess, and I really really was not keen on how that was all handled. And could I have handled it better? Probably. Could I have done things better? Probably. Um, like even from the outset, like the first one or two sessions I did, I had players complaining that I wasn't giving them enough points. The point totals were too small. And I'm like, guys, you'll get done the campaign game in like an hour, and then you can play a regular game afterwards. But that wasn't consoling people. They were all upset that they were coming from East Japipi and only to play a half an hour game. Like it's a community thing. We're building and talking about the world, and we're doing this, that, and the other. Nope, nope, nope. They're all upset. And so, with that said, I don't miss doing it. I miss playing. I don't miss organizing everything. And if I were to organize a thing again, I would just be like, this is the point total we're doing. And that's what we're doing, and that's it. And yeah. And that said, man, that put a huge damper on my painting. And then as the year went on, I had to cut down on my role-playing game schedule because it was getting to be way too much. And so that kind of threw a funk wrench in my life as well, because like role-playing games are one of the biggest stress relievers that I have. And when I had to cut games and cut down my schedule, it was really hard, because I had to, like, one of the games I cut was one of the games I was having the most fun with, which was, it was a West Marches Deathbringer game. That was based, like, I was building the world out and all that. I was super happy about it. I was excited about it. It was a strong dungeon delve with using a lot of player thought instead of just relying on die rolls and that sort of thing. But so I ended up giving that up because I had the more meaty Ruins of Aslant, Reign of Winter, and White Plume Mountain that I was running. So each of those had larger, more dedicated play groups, and I wanted to kind of focus on them. And then Ruins of Aslant, I went from twice a month to once a month. Reign of Winter, I kept its every other week schedule. And then White Plume Mountain did once a month. So, I was still running like 4 games a month versus running 4, 5, 6 games a month. Then when I was running GDF was 7, So I was running like every day of the weekend I had something, because the only time I had available to run any of this stuff was on the weekend. So I cut a bunch of that, and it really affected me in a few different ways that I didn't expect it to. Like I have enjoyed running the Ruins of Aslant game, but I started wondering, like, well, do I even want to run this game? Do I even want to run the rest of White Plume? I hit a point where the only game that I was really interested in running was Reign of Winter, because I was really invested on that one. Um, and it's like when you start hitting that point of things, it's hard because you really start burning out because the stuff that you enjoy doing stops being the stuff that you enjoy doing, and I don't want to ever hit that point. So um, I restructured some of the things I was doing with Ruins of Aslant. Um, I removed a lot of the dungeon delving that was going on with it because it's Pathfinder, so it's a lot more chunky rules, a lot more crunchy rules. So I removed a lot of the dungeon delving to make it a bit more accessible for some of the players that are not so deeply invested in the rule set, and just focused on the role play elements as much as I could. And then now that we're towards the end of Ruins of Aslan, there's going to be a lot more like inescapable. You have to run the dungeons because it's sort of the way the end is concocted. So I had just done a big like time jump for them where they spent 3 years in like a stasis place. They're in a different dimension where time moves forward, but outside of it, time doesn't move or hardly moves. So they spent like 3 years in there, and it's going to been like a couple minutes have passed when they come back to reality. So they've done like a Dragon Ball Z training montage. So that's kind of cool. And anyways, so I have that. Um, I need to kind of like schedule out how those things will go. My writing, I have to work on. Like, I want to get more consistent. I've ignored a lot of that all of this year. I haven't written steadily since June. August, I did manage to do the 1,000 word challenge for like 3 of the 4 weeks of August. And then my final story, I took like 4 weeks to write, which as like 4 weeks to write 1,000 words was pitiful. But at the time I was going through my training for supervisor and all that stuff, which I'm not even sure if that's like my big calling. But we'll see. So all that said and done, I have those things to work on and kind of schedule out and figure out how my day and week and month are going to be organized. So I'd still like to do these videos. I'm actually thinking what I'd like to do is to do these videos, but do them after I've read everything so that I can talk about the individual issues more in depth instead of my first like impressions. So we'll see. But anyways, this video is getting obsessively long. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm done for now. And we'll see what else happens afterwards. So I hope that you all have had a beautiful and bright holiday season so far, in that the 2024 year gives you new opportunities and gives you new abilities and gives you new opportunities to shine. So much love, much peace, much joy out to you and yours, and we'll see you next time.